Hello. Welcome here. I haven't done these in a while, so I'm excited to share with you what we're doing here tonight. Basically, it's an amazing time of year to get stuff paid. That's what we're gonna be talking about tonight and on this live if you're watching the replay. So I'll give a couple moments for people to get in here. And if you're watching the replay, thank you as well. And yeah, super excited to talk about this. It's I've been in the industry for about 10 years, and it's interesting that every year it always takes me by surprise what happens starting right about now until I'd say Thanksgiving time, somewhere in there. It's like the insurance companies wake up and go, oh yeah, we're going to start paying stuff now. And there's a couple different reasons behind that I've heard. I don't know for sure. It's been a while since I've been on the insurance side of things, but I hear whispers and comments and, some of the groups about what's going on. So yeah, it's an interesting time of year because they seem to be loosening up the purse strings of a lot of insurance companies. So I'd like to hear in the chat if anybody else in the comments. Actually, we have comments here on chat, but in the comments I can see your comments. If you guys are encountering, just a little bit of a loosening of the purse strings right now, it's only going to get better, in my opinion, as we head into Thanksgiving, or from now until Thanksgiving. It should be an interesting time where, you can do some things a little bit differently to help get paid, and that's what we're going to go over tonight. Is what tactics can you employ that might help you increase your chances of getting paid on the estimates that you're submitting to the insurance company. So this training, of course, is for roofing and restoration contractors. So if you're one of those in the house, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're 2 minutes in, and let's see what I can do to help you start getting paid faster and more on your estimates. More faster, that's all we need, right? So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do my share the screen old trick here. And we're going to be talking all about how we can go ahead and get paid more faster. That's what we're here for tonight. So bear with me. I have not done a Facebook Live in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and make sure I get all of you guys seeing my screen. It's really the goal here. So give me 2 seconds. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot, and we'll get going. So I'm going to go ahead and put this over here. Sorry, you get to watch me mess around trying to share screen on Facebook Live. All right, let's see here if we can see that. That's what it's, yep, we should be seeing this first slide here. So how to get your estimates paid. So what's happening in the industry right now? Good to see you, Lucinda. What's happening in the industry right now is that you'll notice is that you're like, that estimate that I submitted in June, they just paid on it. This one I just did in July. They're paying. That's interesting. And the reason I know that this, not only have I been in the industry for 10 years, it's also because we have a third-party estimating company that's called Redbox Estimating that we own. Over there, Allstate, State Farm, some Travelers stuff is all rolling in the past 2 weeks. And I'm talking some good increases, 45%, 60%. Stuff that we did not see over the summer. It's markedly different in the past few weeks. And this time of year, every year, it always surprises me. It's like, what's going on in the industry? Oh yeah, it's the 1st of September. And this will keep on going on until probably the end of November or through Thanksgiving, where, I don't know the exact reason, but it's always markedly different. I've heard a few things. So if you're wondering why, Alina, why would it make a difference this time of year? Well, a lot of these insurance companies could be up on a fiscal year that's ending. Some people have, some of these, large corporations have budgets. If they don't meet their budgetary guidelines, they will lose that budget for next year in some departments. That's one thing I've heard. Now, again, this is all hearsay. Do not hold me to this and be like, yeah, Alina said, and be like, oh, Alina's wrong. No. This is just hearsay things that I hear. There's also requirements that they have to meet before they present to their shareholders at the end of the year, and they can't show a low figure and then pay out a bunch of claims. So they have to get a real world figure of what they actually owe. They have to actually start responding to us. They have to actually start paying the claims and getting the checks into their customers' hands for that reason as well. And then there's just some other actuary and algorithmic, all the fun things that are going on that by end of year, they want to have all this 2024 stuff shaken out. And they can't do that if they're carrying all this 2024 stuff into 2025. And the reason it seems to end about Thanksgiving, it's like people just from Thanksgiving to Christmas let's just be real, everybody checks out, right? You might still see some things come through after the end of November. I would love for you to keep me posted what your experience is, but that's pretty much what in the industry I've heard whispers and some groups, and just being in the industry for so long, that's what seems to happen with the insurance companies this time of year. So how can you capitalize upon that? How can you not take advantage, because you're just wanting to get your job done at the end of the day? Let's talk about that tonight. What kind of tactics might help move the needle for you guys and help you get paid faster, and what you should on your estimates. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this here. Just a little slideshow I put together tonight. Here's what we're going to be talking about. So first of all, how to submit a few key items at the beginning of this process is going to help you majorly to get paid faster. Fortunes in the follow-up, I'm going to talk about that. So that's my second point for this presentation. And then 3, documentation is what gets you paid. And you're probably like, Alina, I've been watching you for years. You've been on the documentation horse for a long time. It's like, doesn't matter. So I've got some new tactics that might help you with the documentation piece on that. And if you're like, documentation, what's that? Photos, just getting some good photos. So we'll talk about that here in a second. So first of all, let's lead off. What few key items can you submit at the beginning of the process that's going to set you up for success in the long run? If you've ever been through any of my webinars or any of my courses, you'll know that I advocate that you submit the bare minimum as an attachment to your first email to the adjuster. So you're a human, the adjuster's a human. If you open up your email first thing in the morning and you've got a 50-page long estimate, now some restoration estimates, they're going to be long, don't get me wrong. But if you've got this huge attachment, you've got 15, you've got your code, your manufacturer specs, your Eagle View, your, accoutrement of whatever else you guys are attaching. If that's the first email that you're hitting an adjuster with, along with the, 15 pages of emails that he has to read through, that's not doing you any service. Yes, I do want to overcome objections every time I have an interaction with the adjuster. I want to preempt that by thinking, okay, he's probably going to push back on ice and water shield, so I better send him that code doc. It really is too early on that first initial contact that you have with them. What I would advocate is put everything into your estimate that you can, but keep it as succinct as possible. So perhaps you don't even have an estimate from the adjuster yet. Perhaps you have his first estimate and you're submitting a supplement. In either of those two scenarios, I would advocate, well, for the first scenario, just write your own Xactimate. And I wouldn't even, have to pack it with code, manufacturer specs. I would just submit the estimate. And sometimes they're just paying it. Like I just lined out for those of you who just joined us. It's a great time of year because they need to meet fiscal standards, budgetary standards, and they have to paint a good picture of 2024 going to 2025. So you're going to see the climate change a little bit in our industry with the purse strings opening up. So one of the ways you can capitalize on that is make it easy for that adjuster to look over your first estimate, to look over your first supplement, and then we can go from there. So line out everything that you need on your estimate, maybe bold what was missing from the adjuster's first estimate. Throw some code in there where you think, yeah, I just know State Farm always denies this one, so I'm going to send a code on that. But don't overload that first interaction because it really sets you off on a back foot with the adjuster. He's like, Scott, he's one of those guys. He's one of those contractors. It's like we don't have to start all that at the very beginning. We can slowly move through this process. Well, I say slowly, meaning on our side, we get to control the conversation by eking out the information that they need to get paid. Now, when you get to the second, third, fourth interaction and they're just denying everything, that's the time to not hit them. That's the time to nicely submit all of your documentation at that time. But starting at the beginning with just a few key items can bode well for you if they're just needing to get the checks out and get your supplement addressed. What else can I say about key items? Just think of any objections that you come across. If you are new to the industry, I would just submit your estimate and be bold and brave and say, this is what you owe. This also goes far with getting the homeowner or policyholder roped into the conversation. Okay. I don't know how many of you here have seen me present before, but you might hear me say the same things about 3 times because I'm not sure who's new, who's not. Basically, you want to be able to start the conversation with the policyholder involved because the policyholder is the one who holds the contract with the insurance company. Okay, that's their contractual agreement. You as the adjuster are coming in, you as the contractor are coming in over here outside of this agreement with the insurance company, and you have a contract here. So to circumvent and think that you can do all of the work yourself without involving the person who holds the contract with the insurance company is not very smart. So the more you can get this person not completely involved, like they have to be interactive with every single thing that goes back and forth with the adjuster, but the more you get your policyholder seeing what's going on, observing that, oh yeah, this adjuster is really dragging his feet. He's not getting back with you, contractor. Oh, I don't like the way that his tone in that email. They are the one that the insurance company is beholden to. As much as you'd like to think that the insurance company owns the claim, they do not. The person who makes the claim owns the claim. And we need to utilize that person with their place of power as much as possible. Again, you don't need to insert them into every single conversation that you have, but the more that you bring them into the loop and you're seeing them and all the emails that you're seeing with the adjuster, they're going to go to bat for you. And it's really great if you can start off the right foot with the policyholder, be like, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to submit this estimate. The adjuster's going to come back and say, your contractor's too expensive. And you're going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. My contractor said that you would say that to me. I have chosen Wilson Roofing as my contractor of choice. That's who I chose, because the insurance company, unless they're on program work, and yes, there are some bad policies out there, but they cannot steer your policyholder as to whom this person chooses to do the job. So as long as you lock down that relationship and say, guess what's going to happen? We're going to submit this estimate, and here's he's going to come back as. You preempt that fire to being like, he did exactly what you told me he was going to do, Wilson Roofing. You're on it, because that adjuster reacted exactly how you said he would. Just getting that person that actually holds the contract with the insurance company involved is a beautiful thing. So, all right. So we've submitted our few key items. What happens next? Well, I like to say the fortune's in the follow-up. And in fact, over here at Estimate Mastery, we teach our members of our program to be pretty proactive with what their follow-up is. So basically, just boots on the ground, down and dirty, just using a spreadsheet to keep yourself active and keep your activity on the file captured somewhere goes a long way. So yes, there's CRMs, there's Job Nimbus, there's AccuLinks, there's all the other Builder Trend, all those kinds of CRMs. But I haven't, really had one found one that's super easy to see exactly what we need in the supplement side of things. Because if you don't keep on the adjuster, he is going to take 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, months, a year to get back with you. If you aren't the squeaky wheel really works in this business. All right. So what we do is we just track, who did we talk to? What did we submit? So I just start a file, start running with a little spreadsheet here. Submitted the estimate to Farm Bureau. We'll check tomorrow, Tuesday. And I keep my history, by the way, all the way back to, okay, I left a voicemail for Daisy asking for the revised estimate. I'm going to call again on 9/10. So I know exactly where I am in my files at any given moment. So for policyholders like, hey, Elena, why is the job taking so long? Why haven't you started? Well, it's because your insurance company hasn't responded to me for my last 3 calls. Okay, and I can see that. I can prove it. And there's probably a way to do this in threads and things on your CRM, but it's just easy for me as a supplementer to see everything in a one-stop shop and not have to go in and out of every little Job Nimbus file. Go see, okay, no, I like to track it all right here. And then, of course, I like to track who is the insurance company that we're working with? What's the original amount from the adjuster? And sometimes this is blank because I don't have an adjuster's estimate yet. And then what am I asking for? Well, in this file here for Mickey Mouse, I was asking for $18,598, and the amount of the original was $10,458. So the handy dandy little easy formulas you can put in here, it'll auto-calculate the difference. So what am I actually asking for? This is very helpful to know this number in particular, especially if you're working with travelers or Safeco or someone who's using Symbility. I don't need to go line by line with them. I can just say, you know what, we're about $8,000 apart. Where can we land on this? Just close this file. Get off your desk, Mr. Adjuster. What can we do here? So the more you make it so it's the policyholder who you are trying to help, even adjuster, honey attracts more than vinegar does. So yelling and beating down and berating the adjuster really is not going to get you anywhere. It's more about, how can I get this line item paid, or how can we arrive at this difference? And that really is a great way to steer the conversation. Then on the tracking sheet, I also track date received, date closed. I want to know those maths don't math. I think this is the 29th. Anyways, some things close in a day, some things it takes a month. My averages used to be closing in 2 weeks. Right now, we are 4 to 5 weeks out. So I want to track this over time to see if I am right, if 2024 is going to track the way that the last 10 years has, in that we should see a shortening of that 4 or 5 week time period coming up, going into and rolling into Thanksgiving. So I'm going to track that. I'll keep you guys apprised of what we find out. And then I always track the amount of the original, whether O&P was paid, the revised estimate here. What did we get back? Because what I'm asking for, the $8,000, might not be what they actually pay out, and that's okay. You're never going to get, a lot of times, 100% of the supplement funds that you're looking for, and that's okay. We arrive somewhere close to 40% on average is usually good. Then what that means is if you start with a $20,000 roof and you get, let's say you write a $30,000 roof estimate and you get to $28,000, that's 40% paid out. That $8,000 is 40% of the $20,000. 40% is really my goal. These are some live files that we were working. Now there are some outliers. This one's pretty big on a percentage, so you might want to take the median instead of the average. But our average was 45.68% for this company. So that's the kind of stuff. If I can have these numbers at my fingertips, I can easily report to my contractor, to whoever I'm working with. Hey, the company owner. Hey, you'd probably feel pretty good if you could report to your company owner that you've supplemented $60,000 in less than 10 files over the last couple weeks. They'd probably be pretty happy with you. So, and that's on the low end. As far as job size, these are some smaller jobs that we were working. So so that's what you want to do. Fortunately, the follow-ups. Let's talk through some processes. Now that we're organized, we got a sheet going here. What can we do to go ahead and be the squeaky wheel? Well, I recommend that you, as soon as you submit your first email to the adjuster with your estimate, that's not going to have all the stuff crammed into it. It's going to be an easy to read, small bite-sized estimate. I would then get on the phone and say, hey, I've submitted this estimate. I'd love to review it as soon as possible with you so we can get this file moving. And I would also email that same day. Then I'd wait 48 business hours. I wouldn't call them on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I'd give them 3 tries. So usually how this goes down is we submit everything, give them a call. Then we give them 3 tries, 48 hours. So that would be a total of 8 days? Yeah, business days in between. First contact all the way up and try to follow up with them 3 times every 48 hours. Hey, just trying to, Lena Wilson here, just from Wilson Roofing, just trying to get this homeowner taken care of. We'd love to get their job started. If I could just sit down with you for 15 minutes and get this knocked out, we'd love to do that. So it's a pro for the homeowner. It's a pro for the adjuster. Let me get this off your desk kind of situation. Okay. If you hear back from them, great. Now you have some objections probably to overcome. So the questions I love to ask adjusters, just so you can maybe write these down. How did you arrive at that? Is a really good one. So if you get a denial, it's like, how did you arrive at that? Now that one's better probably conversationally than via email, because you don't have a bunch of email back and forth. What would have made you say yes to this line item? What made you say no? Why are you denying this? Kind of drill down and get deeper into the conversation, because this line item isn't warranted. Okay, well, how did you arrive at that? Well, I've just never seen any contractors ask for this before. Oh, interesting. So here's why I'm asking for the drip edge to be removed and replaced, because due to IRC code, I'm required in this area to do that. Well, no other contractor asked for that. Well, I'm not any other contractor. Just try to keep it real positive. I'm going to service the homeowner for the way the code requires. So you can really take it down that road. So you kind of just get deeper, get under those layers. Don't take a denial at face value. It's like, well, they said no. I guess I just need to take the $10,000 check and move on. No. The people who make money in this industry, it takes a little tenacity, it takes a little bit of pushback, and in a way that you're trying to indemnify the homeowner for the condition before the loss, okay? That's kind of policy language. Don't love contractors to say that, but I need you to understand the concept behind it. So they had a roof that was up to code before the loss. They had a roof that was up to manufacturer specifications before the loss. Now you're asking me to go beyond that and not install what's warrantable or required by code, that's not helping out the homeowner in any way, shape, or form. And then the homeowner's looped in on these conversations and they can have your back. Okay, so if you do hear back from them, use some of those questions that I just mentioned. If you don't hear back from them after submitting the estimate, calling every 48 hours after submission 3 times. I then go to the main line of the insurance company, or some of the smaller ones. This doesn't work so great. Travelers could be a little bit of a beast to get to someone else who isn't assigned. If it was a field adjuster that was assigned to State Farm, that can be hard too. But these are general tactics that work like 85% of the time, I would say. This is the kind of stuff that you want to be noting down, keeping track of, and moving forward in this manner. So if you don't hear back from the adjuster in that manner that is prescribed, go to the main line of the insurance company, let them know you have a non-responsive adjuster, and of course, if you can get the policyholder roped in on this as well, this is a powerful conversation. You need to speak to a new adjuster or a supervisor. Hopefully they will give that information to you. It may take several times. Right now, the industry is wackadoodle, and it is not as easy as it was to get something reassigned, but it can happen, and it's only if you ask. If you don't ask, they can't say yes. So you would just keep plugging away and have that tenacity. And trust me, you're not the only one out there fighting the good fight. It's all of us out here. There's no easy road, but there are some tactics like this that you can take. And then we're just rinse and repeat. Once we get a new adjuster assigned, once we get a supervisor that we get a hold of, email in. Don't try not to inundate them with like this long 50-page email. And there's our correspondence, and the adjuster never responded, and all that stuff. Just try to be succinct as possible. Get them the information. It's like, this is what we need taken care of. Rope it, be able to show CC that homeowner, policyholder. Say, look, the policyholder is CC'd here. And then, same thing, rinse and repeat. Call, email every 48 hours, and I give them 3 tries. This usually works. This tactic here, if you've had no movement on a file for 2 to 3 weeks, or after those 8 days, if you're super proactive and are just like a go-getter, this stuff works pretty much every time. Again, don't hold my feet to the fire. Everybody's different in the different areas of the country, but we've had some good success with this. Now, only 3 times have I not had a responsive adjuster, not been able to get a new adjuster assigned, or get a hold of a supervisor. It was auto owners claims in Illinois. It was dumb. So we did go to the policyholder, had them write an email, crafted it for them, had them put their particulars on it, and understand what they were submitting. Okay, don't just give something to someone, say submit this, let them rope them in, let them know what they're doing. But they can CC the DOI and the main email for the insurance company and say, hey, we have a non-responsive insurance company. I feel that I am they're acting in bad faith. They are not addressing my claim in a timely manner. Don't do this, until it's been 3 to 4 weeks at least, I would say. You've got to show a span of time and negligence that has happened. But that is something that usually perks. And again, I only had to do it 3 times in our when we have our supplement company. So it's over like hundreds of files. So that's your be all end all. And it depends on the state. Illinois is really hard and really tough, but Texas, we never had to go to this route. So, and it needs to come from the policyholder, by the way. You cannot, as a contractor, file with the DOI or complaint. The policyholder needs to do that for their particular state. Yeah. Love it, Brooke. Good to see you. Thanks for backing me up. Yeah, gets past 4, there's movement. It's crazy, isn't it? Didn't used to be that way. Ish. All right, now, let's see if we do get a hold of someone that can actually make decisions and actually get us paid, actually write checks. When you do get a hold of them, be willing to have a give and take conversation. I see contractors that fight tooth and nail for 6 months to get drip edge paid. And I'm like, you must have millions of dollars in your back pocket, because my accounts receivable could not sustain that. So right now, due to the fact the industry, now, we don't put anything into our estimates that is not completely legitimate. I never put fluff in the estimates, but what I can do is have them feel like they win on some of these line items. Okay, you don't want to pay to replace the turtle vents. I'm going to replace these turtle vents whether you pay for them or not, but you will pay for drip edge, project supervisory, and overhead and profit on this job. Cool. Fine. Don't pay to replace my 5 turtle vents. It's like this. You have to know your profit margin and you have to know your profitability. On that note, by the way, spoiler alert, we actually have a profit GPT that we're going to be releasing very soon that'll help you see your profitability on the job. Very excited to roll that out in the next month or so. Not tonight. Sorry. Tonight is all about these tactics. But if you know where your line of profitability is, or if you know your numbers because you're tracking yourself and you know what percentages you're arriving at on average, you can have some of this give and take conversations, because to drag a file out just to get some drip edge paid, it's not going to help you, the homeowner. Your accounts receivable is just going to go for miles, and it's just not worth it. So start to find that line of profitability, and there's a few line items that you might find, if I just don't talk about turtle vents anymore, it seems like the file closes in 2 weeks instead of 8. Okay, maybe not that you don't ask for it, but maybe you don't push as hard for 1 or 2 of these line items. It's really up to you. The other thing you can negotiate is if they say no O&P, say, okay, will you pay my project supervisory hours and maybe 5% O&P? That's been working. With the project supervisory hours, though, you do have to document that someone was out there with just some sort of quick log to provide to the adjuster, because they need to show. So with overhead and profit, we're seeing if we provide the subcontractor's name and phone number in lieu of the unredacted invoices that they ask for. We say, no, we don't do that. It's our policy here at Wilson Roofing not to release any proprietary information, but I will provide the sub's name and phone number for you so you can see if they were on the job or not. That's been working well. So just be creative with how you negotiate some of this stuff. I don't like the word negotiate. I guess just have a discussion about what you can do to arrive at a win-win for everybody, but you can't do that if you don't know your profitability numbers. So that'd be the first thing you want to work on. But there's got to be a give and take. You're not going to hold a file open for 10 months because you need drip edge paid. That's not gonna. If you're new to the industry, you're going to have to find that breaking point for you to be, you know what? Let's just close this file. Let's get depreciation released. Let's go, and that'll go a long way as far as keeping your business afloat than just holding out for months over a few line items. The other thing is I would advocate that you do pre-repair supplementing. That's something that some of you might not have heard. There's a lot of new people in the industry, Brooke. I don't know if you've heard that, if you've seen that. Sarah, too. I see you, Sarah. There's a lot of new people in the industry right now, and it's fantastic. I'm here for it. But you don't know what you don't know. So you want to do a pre-repair supplement as much as possible, meaning get the adjuster's paperwork, write up an estimate before the repairs has even started. Try to get some of this stuff done on the front end. You're going to get 80% more of your supplement items added on the front end rather than waiting till the job is built and submitting the supplement estimate. Then you're going to have a pretty hard time, in my opinion and in my experience. So some people, they can't. They need to get the jobs done. They need to get the AR flowing. They need to get paid. But pre-repair supplements where it's at. So when you get denied on any of those pre-repair supplement estimates, throw it on the back end. Now you have your photos that you actually did replace those turtle vents. You have your photos that a supervisor was on the job and you have his log. You have all the beautiful photos of the repair being completed in the manner that you specified at the beginning with your pre-repair supplement. Go pay it, because now you have documentation that you actually did the work. And you can do this in a manner that's just like I prescribed, every 48 hours, after the post repair. And the conversation you want to have is, hey, Mr. Adjuster, if you can just sit down with me for 10 minutes, we can knock this out, get depreciation submittal, get that released, and get this off your desk. You can actually close this file with me if you'll just sit down with me for 10 or 15 minutes, and we can get this out of your way. Because that's how adjusters, a lot of them, depending on the type of adjuster, I'm going to be doing a lot of reels this week of the different types of adjusters, by the way, if you want to follow along. There's about 5 or 6 different types of adjusters that you're going to come across. And most of those adjusters are being watched by their supervisors to see how many claims they close a day per week. That raises up the JD Power Associates rating for their companies. That's one of the overall goals for supervisors, is to raise the JD Power Associates score. And they do that by closing files. So if you can say, hey, let's get this file closed, that is the language they are looking for. And lastly, we'll end out this evening with documentation is what gets you paid. As you just heard, oh, that's not ready for that. Documentation is what gets you paid. So basically, if you have line items that they are denying, I would go ahead and you can do, it's called cost incurred. I have a video on that over on YouTube. And then you can make it, like Brooks' comment says, supplement on the front end. You have more power on the front end. If you have a cost incurred or a paid when incurred line item, you can actually do what's called a strike through. Go watch the YouTube video on that. If you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, that's okay. I have a whole YouTube explanation on that. But if you're going to add these line items, you got to be willing to provide the documentation. There's 3 types of documentation: manufacturer specs, IRC code. There's probably 4 or 5, but tonight I'm getting hangry. Third is photos. You have to be willing to present the information that you are asking for that line item. So if they're like, yeah, we're not going to replace those turtle bits, say, yeah, well, that's what the code requires, so I'm going to do it. There are going to be some times when they may not pay that. That's true. But I would hold their feet to the fire with the homeowner and be like, I did the work I said I was going to do. I'm holding you up, I'm beholden to code to do this. There's an app called One Click Code you want to check out. It's starting to gain traction in the industry. That'll show that the code doesn't matter if it's required or not. It's what code. You've got to have an international standard of building. So there's again, that's a whole other conversation. But documentation and showing with a photo that you actually did what you said you're going to do is going to take you so much more far in the industry than just saying, oh, no, they won't pay it. Okay, well, okay. Go out there for 30 minutes, take the photos that you should. We have a photo checklist. I think it's over on YouTube. You should be able to find Mastery Photo Checklist or how to take photos. Just start, rinse and repeat. Every single job, get your guys to get the photos while they're out there the first time. Don't pay the dumb tax and drive 5, 6, 7 times to go get photos. Get organized. Y'all, how are all these roofing contractors and restoration companies selling to private equity? Is it because they are some fancy, successful business and they have their nice suit and obviously they drive a Ferrari because that's why the private equity? No, they buy them because they have systems. If you start systems now, simple checklist. I showed you my simple spreadsheet. These are all just systems, right? Why does McDonald's have chains everywhere in the world? You walk in, you get McDonald's hamburger, it tastes pretty much the same as it does anywhere in the world because they have systems. That's all this fancy business advice. Everybody wants the next big thing. Ooh, what's the next juicy topic of, what is Elon Musk saying? What is Richard Branson to have this special sauce? Now they are geniuses. I will give you that. Geniuses with systems. So it's really, that's all it is. It's the boring stuff that grunt work, that's what gets you paid. And that's what makes a successful business. So documentation is huge on that front. And the more you can get systematized now, the better off you're going to be. All right. I hope you guys found some good information from that tonight. I have a couple things to go over with you really quickly. If you don't know me, my name is Alina Wilson. I teach contractors around the U.S. how to use Xactimate to get paid by the insurance company and stop with the AR, accounts receivable, out for miles for years and all of that. That's my job. So I've worked with thousands of contractors over the past 10 years. These are some of the live events that we did. This one was actually in April. We bring people in. We also, of course, work with people online as well. So we don't have an in-person event scheduled as of right now. We will soon. But we definitely can help you with our online coaching and training program. Here's another event we did. And so if you're interested at all for, like, I think, Joseph said, can you do a live video for beginners, a 101? Sure, I can. But if you want to learn what it takes to get paid on every single estimate, what you should, we have a huge success rate. Brooke's a long time person who's been with us. Yep, we're fantastic friends. Brooke weren't you on Roofing Contractor Magazine? Weren't you Women Roofer of the Year? Brooke doing her stuff, and she's fantastic. But she took what we taught and implemented, and that's how she got where she is. All of that to say, if you're interested to see if we can help you, you can book a call with our team, and we'd love to chat and see, even if you're brand new or if you've been in the business for 10 years. We want to build the systems into your business that will actually make you a profitable and sustainable business so that the insurance companies don't take advantage of you. You get paid what you should, and the homeowner gets the best service possible because you're the best contractor out there. So, yep. I'll take a couple Q&A while we're sitting here chatting. Yeah. Some people they'll just never pay overhead and profit, Sarah. It depends on. They're now going with the complexity agreement, right? So that's a fun new hurdle or obstacle. I would either try negotiating down in your percent. Say, you know what? I don't work for free. I'm a GC. this money in the line items, obviously because of the white paper that you can read as a human, this money's going out the door. I don't work for free, Mr. Adjuster. Please help me understand how I'm going to recoup my cost of this job, because what you're sharing with me is that you're asking me to work for free. And the more that the policyholder, honestly, Sarah, the more that the policyholder is involved in this conversation, the better off you're going to be. And the more that you preempt this fire at the very beginning of the conversation, your life is going to get a lot more easier. Is there a silver bullet? No. But I give you a grenade, a shotgun, and a tank to try to help with this. So negotiate. First of all, get your homeowner on board and say, here's what's going to happen. In our industry, it's not like Best Buy where you just go buy a TV. In our industry, we have to show our hand of cards. We have to show what we're taking as overhead and profit. We have to show how we're making money. And a lot of times they're going to deny us on this end. And I want you to know, Mr. Homeowner, here's why we charge this. And just make it real easy. 3 things. I have to cover my guys who are going to coordinate your job to make sure there's nobody peeing in your bushes and throwing trash everywhere. I have to pay, admin so that we give you the best service possible in the shortest amount of time. I need my, whatever it is. So as long as there's value there, it's not just money that you're a money-grabbing, hungry contractor like the adjuster is going to try to portray you as whenever they receive your estimate and they get all hot and bothered. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would, try and negotiate down the percentage. So at least you get something added for overhead and profit. I don't work for free. Could go 5%, 5%. Like that'll at least get this out the door. We get the depreciation released and move on. I can close this file, whatever it is, whatever makes it attractive for the adjuster to get you out of their hair and squeaky wheel off their desk. Third thing is getting project management hours, but that takes documentation. You need literally a photo of your supervisor on the ground supervising, and then a log showing how many hours he was at the address will go a long way with that. You get those three things into your business as soon as possible, you're going to, I believe, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that you're going to see some movement on that. That's really what's been working with our members here. So those are my 2 things. Thanks, Brooke. We love you. I don't know if you're still here. I'm kind of wrapping up for the evening, but yeah, she's great. All right. So any other questions that you have, feel free to comment on this feed. I will be monitoring, or my team will be monitoring this and answering any questions. I know this is going to go out as a replay. So if you're at all need any information from us, we are here for you. You can also email info@estimatemastery.com, any questions that you have. And go to our website, Estimate Mastery, if you want to get on our list. I'm going to start to do a lot more things like this. It's that time of year when you guys are slowing down. Some of this stuff is going to start moving in the industry, and I want to be here to help as much as possible. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. And again, any questions, info@estimatemastery.com. You can go to our website, Estimate Mastery. There's a commonly missed line item list I hopefully I can say that right, that you can go download if you want to go over there. Go see us on YouTube. I've got a lot of content, especially if you're a beginner. Yeah, I'll be back once a week at least with more of this. And thanks everyone for watching, and hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Take care.